The views and opinions expressed by the On the Spot with David Rodgers show are solely based on the show's host, guests, and viewers. We are solely responsible for all show content in its entirety and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of any sponsors in any way. These broadcasts are presented and made public by the On the Spot with David Rodgers team in the hope that it'll be entertaining and informative to our viewers and listening audience.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's 7 o'clock and time for On the Spot with David Rodgers. And now, here he is, Mr. Friday Night, the show pony himself, the man, the dream, the legendary David Rodgers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I'm your host, David Rodgers, alongside Mr. Byron Bagwell, who will join us here in just a few minutes, and Mitchell Gunner. It's great to have you along for another show. Tonight's show sponsored by the Fantastic Fire Brigade. Nothing is more exciting than a full-size real fire engine at a birthday party, parade, or special event. Fantastic Fire Brigade in Stark will make your next party a blazing success. Come into Facebook next week, which they're working on, but you can call right now, 904-701-FIRE. That's 904-701-3473, and you can ask to speak to Michael Heater and or to John Probst. So, got a lot of events going on with that, and we'll get into that here in just a little bit. Let's get the show started, as we always do, with our prayer, our pledge, and our patriotic quote of the night. I'm going to ask Mr. Michael Heater tonight, since my voice is about to go. I hope I don't lose it before the show, but if I do, we've already got it set who's going to fill in. So, Mr. Michael Heater, if you'll do the honors and lead us in our prayer tonight, please.
Absolutely. Lord, Heavenly Father, we love you. And we thank you for the chance to be able to come to you with our needs, our concerns, and our praise. We appreciate all that you do for us, and we appreciate all that you do for our country. Even in the midst of internal strife, we know that you are in control. Lord, we thank you for the day that you have given to us, and we thank you for the days that are to come. We thank you for the opportunity to gather together as we do tonight with our friends, our fellow patriots, our listening audience, and to the government leaders who steadfastly serve the best interests of our community. We thank you for our first responders who are out there day and night, willing to put themselves on the line to serve the public. We thank you for the absolute greatest military force in the world today, the Armed Forces of the United States of America. And while they struggle in certain areas of the world with the certain reactions and causes that we are faced with, we know that you will provide the guiding hand, the supporting force, and the compassion that is needed to keep them out of harm's way. We thank you for the opportunity to be able to live in the best nation in the world, where our freedoms are protected, not just by you, but by a government document that says that we, the people, govern ourselves in a way that allow us to make our families safe and productive in our society. We ask for your blessings as we move forward this evening. We bless our special guests coming on. Bless the participants in the show, the callers that are in, and the viewers that are out there. We thank you for each and every one of the gifts that you provide to us every day. And we praise you for all that you will continue to do for us. It is in your Son's name that we pray these things. And the congregation says,
Amen. All right, great prayer there. We'll stand up and let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'm going to ask Mr. Mitchell Gunner if he'd lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into On the Spot with David Rodgers. I'm your host, David Rodgers, right alongside Mr. Mitchell Gunner. Mr. Byron Bagwell will join us here in just a couple of minutes. And we've got Dave Holland and Michael Heater in with us tonight. No Austin Stevens, as he's under the weather, so we hope he gets better. Under the weather. That's pretty good, wasn't it? Yeah. No pun intended on that. So anyway, waiting on, like I said, Byron to get here. Do you have a patriotic quote, Mike? Or Mitchell, y'all have one? I did not get a chance to do that.
Oh, let's see. Patriotic quote.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything especially in mind? Michael, do you have one that you can think of?
It's not necessarily an individual quote.
Okay.
But I alluded to it earlier. And I think that it's important that more than ever that we appreciate it. And that is that we, the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice and ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and help me out with the rest of it there, ensure the blessings of liberty for us,
yes,
to ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. That is the document by which we live by,
that's right.
Therefore, and other nations strive to reach so that they can have the benefits of living in the greatest country in the world.
That's exactly right. And you quoted that almost verbatim there. And that's pretty good there. I think I've got one right here, and I'll open him up right here. Freedom is one of the deepest and noblest aspirations of the human spirit. Who said that? Byron knows.
Forefather,
Yes, it is.
Founding father.
Yes, it is.
I want to say it's Thomas Jefferson.
You're exactly right. That's who exactly that is. That's Mr. Thomas Jefferson. As Mr. Byron Bagwell joining us.
Good
you have
evening,
another
everybody.
one?
I have another one and a very special one for tonight.
All right, let's roll with it.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
And there I was in Vietnam fighting the Germans. We took a direct hit from a double latte and Mary had a little lamb.
Well, Jesus. Oh, boy.
Listen, I know a Hillary Clinton quote when I hear one.
Actually, better yet, hey, Michael, that's a good one. I know an AOC quote when I hear one, too. So that could fit as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. I've never seen a
latte.
garbage disposer before.
Oh, how about I've never seen a latte?
Never seen a latte.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, boy. Anyway, Byron Bagwell is joining us. I did like that one. Anyway, hey, let's get rolling. Again, let's introduce everybody. If you've got that for us real quick. To my left, just now join us in his blue shirt and, of course, his silver tie there is Mr. Byron Bagwell.
Good evening,
Do you have
everybody.
a picture of Byron, Dave? I imagine, okay, he's getting it there. Let's see. Oh, look at the eye there. Oh, doing the eye, the crooked eye. Yeah. Oh, doing a smile now. Okay. I think he's got a smile picture. Whoops. Put it over my face.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I guess. There it goes.
Better.
All right. Hey, back behind us here that just put that up is owner of Harry Business, our producer, Super Dave Holland. Dave, say hello to everybody, will you?
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
All right. Hey, you just heard him say a great, great prayer. He's going to do the weather for us tonight. He's going to tune in here with us and help out with our special guest tonight, which I'm not going to reveal just yet. But he's our director. Michael Heater, say hello. The Dragon Slayer, Michael Heater.
Good evening, everybody. Great to have you along.
Well, there it is. Look at him. That's him fighting the dragons there. Look at, man. Which one is Mike? I just got to figure out.
The one on the nozzle, obviously.
The one on the nozzle. You got that right. Over here to my right is the guy, the local guru himself, the guy that gets all the information locally, stays involved with our community. Give it up, lady. For Kevin Bacon. Give it up for Kevin Bacon and Footloose.
Footloose, I'm going to kick off my Sunday shoes.
Yeah, there you go. That's Mr. Mitchell Gunner. And, of course, I'm your host, David Rodgers. We're all in ties tonight. Glad to have... Oh, geez, that's Jack Paladin. Look.
Paladin.
Look there. Have will travel. Look at that guy.
Better Better be careful. We might get in trouble for him showing a gun on Facebook.
Man, that was a great show, though. That is a great show, by the
Yes,
way.
it
I
is.
watched it
It's a
Saturday,
great
but
show.
it is a great
It's
show.
a great show.
Anyway, glad to have you along, guys. Hey, don't go anywhere because the 360 is going to start right after this commercial break. This is the 360, your news and weather update. It's 360 degrees in just 360 seconds. Tonight brought to you by Harry Business in the Deerfoot Plaza, home of the $10 haircut. Call Dave and Company at 904-964-3338. And they are now, ladies and gentlemen, open 7 days a week. So if you need to get your hair cut, you go by and see Dave and Company, and they're going to set you up with a nice haircut. Let's start off in Gainesville. Gainesville firefighters battled a huge commercial fire that destroyed a warehouse overnight. The Skyfrog Tree Service in an industrial park on the north side of Gainesville received significant damage, but there were no injuries. Thank goodness about the injuries. A crash this morning in Lock Lucas, south of Hawthorne, on US 301 required the jaws of life to rescue 2 Bradford County residents trapped in their car after colliding with a school bus. There were no students on the bus, ladies and gentlemen, and the bus driver was not injured.
Actually, in this one, there were 14 students on that bus, but there were 2 bus accidents in Alachua County.
Wow.
This one included 14 students on the bus and the bus driver. None of those were injured. And the 2 from Bradford County residents, one was an 18-year-old male, the other one was a 19-year-old female. They were both transported to UF Health in some pretty rough shape. So, our prayers go out to them and hope they heal fast and get back home to their loved ones.
There you go. All right, a 31-year-old woman from Middleburg has died after the car she was riding in crashed late Monday night, according to the Florida Highway Patrol. A car traveling at a high rate of speed crashed through roundabout at Parkview Drive. The car drove off the road and hit several trees, killing one person and seriously injuring another. A man was killed and another seriously injured in a car crash Sunday morning on County Road 225 near Northeast 216th Street near Lottie in Bradford County. A pickup truck collided head-on with a sedan traveling south. Wow. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene, according to Florida Highway Patrol, while the other driver survived being ejected from the SUV, which actually caught fire.
Quick response by Bradford County Fire Rescue. The fire was actually contained, but the vehicle was destroyed by fire. The driver survived by being thrown from that vehicle. So while he was ejected with serious injuries, had he been in the vehicle, he may not have made it at all. So
that's great news, Mike. Alachua County will have a devoted monoclonal, right? Yeah. Monoclonal antibody treatment site that opened this morning. The new location in High Springs will operate from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. 7 days a week at the Fellowship Church, and will have capacity to serve more than 300 patients a day, Byron, free of charge.
That's good.
That's good. Clay County announced this afternoon that beginning Monday, August 30th, library branches will be limiting hours and urging people to physically distance themselves from others. Here's the hours. Open Monday and Tuesday noon to 8 p.m. Open Wednesday and Thursday 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And open Friday and Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And finally, a reminder that early voting for the City of Stark Police Chief position began on Monday and runs through this Saturday, August 28th, and that would be Bill Murray and Chief Johnson, who is in charge right now. We'll see how that race goes, and of course, we'll be updating you on the spot with David Rodgers on that, and hopefully, whoever the chief is, maybe we can get him back on the show and talk about the victory and talk about what they're going to be doing.
I'm sure.
there you go.
That's the latest news from around the region. Now here's your weather forecast.
This weather report brought to you by Austin's Weather Service out of Keystone Heights. Find Austin's Weather Service on Facebook and have a detailed local forecast sent right to you.
And good evening, folks. Michael here coming in with the weather forecast. A quick check of the radar. The worst of the rain has moved through Bradford County, continues to march off towards the east. Right now, Palm Coast and areas up towards Ponte Vedra seeing the heaviest storms. They will be rolling off the Atlantic coast. We'll see some light showers as we move through the evening tonight, clearing overnight, and another round of it going on tomorrow. If there's one good news to that, and that is the pollen count. Take a look at this. You'll see that the pollen numbers are actually at 0.2 for today, 0.9 for tomorrow, but the numbers are on the way up. By the weekend, you're looking at 7.9 for those of you that are dealing with the pollen. Unfortunately, you get a little bit of a respite now, but it will not remain, as we will continue to see the numbers on the increase as we move forward. Regionally, once again, just like last week, on the regional forecast, we've got temperatures that are ranging in the 80s to the 90s with rain all across the southeast except Nashville. Folks, it's going to be 95 degrees, bright sunny skies, and folks, it is not a dry heat up there. You're looking at what's going to be beautiful conditions there, but for us, those afternoon scattered showers are going to come into play here. The local forecast shows it. Daily afternoon scattered thunderstorms rolling in each and every afternoon with highs topping out in the upper 80s, so at least no 90s for us. Lows around 73 degrees, give or take, but we're going to see those afternoon showers and thunderstorms popping off every afternoon. That is your latest from Austin's Weather Service. David, we're throwing it back to you.
I will stay here just a second, right, before I let you go. Let me ask you this. What's the latest on the tropics? Just really quick.
Really quick, 3 areas of concern that we're watching. One of them down in the bay, towards the Bay of Campeche, expected to continue to move towards the Yucatan Peninsula. 2 others out in the Caribbean Sea and the Western Atlantic. No immediate threats to Florida, but they are expected these storms to develop. We are looking at another round of storms off the African continent that will move into the Atlantic Ocean. We're getting into the Cape Verde season. We're going to see a lot more of these storms starting to build, but at this point, I'd say we're in the clear for at least another 8 to 10 days.
All right, that's a great weather report, Mike. Appreciate that. The pollen count very high. Michael, come on in. Just stay here with me real quick here.
Say it one more time.
Yeah. Anyway, great weather forecast, and of course we've got a special guest coming up tonight for sure that everybody's going to be interested in. And again, there we go. Dan, thank you for that weather update. We got trivia answer coming up, and of course that's Thursday night team trivia over at the Downtown Grill, and you can catch that at 7:30 with your host David Rodgers. I'm your host there each and every Thursday night, and Michael and Byron Mitchell can come and plays Dave when they can, and of course. I don't know what the lead is between you two guys.
Who knows anymore?
We both
Michael's missed the last 2 weeks.
I missed 2 weeks. We've had
there's something going on there.
We had personal issues. We've been dealing with family stuff like that one. So we're looking at trying to make the return on Thursday to reclaim the crown,
right?
And do that. So we're working on that.
Right, and you're looking to come to try to steal the crown, right?
I don't steal anything. I take.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave it at that then. Now, here's the answer to one of the questions for Thursday night team trivia. You have to be watching the show right here to be able to get that. It's usually under the topic, and the answer is. And tonight's word is, Michael?
It is wizard.
Wizard. Could be the Wizard of Oz. It could be the wizard off the Deadliest Catch. It could be just Merlin the Wizard. It could be anything. Yeah. So. How about that? So, anyway.
How about Gandalf?
It could be.
Could be.
All right. Michael, thanks for joining in.
Absolutely.
Mitchell, come on back in with us. So, I was trying to follow you, Mitchell. I wasn't sure what you were trying to tell me there. But anyway, it wouldn't matter.
What I was trying to do is keep the wizard thing up there so me and Michael could change places and you wouldn't see all the commotion going on.
So, you wanted to be the wizard?
Sure. Exactly.
That's what it was. Magical. Yeah.
You know, some Black Sabbath song.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And now everyone's favorite segment that brings back a little history, brought to you by our great media partners, WEAG Eagle Country 106.3 FM, Chuck and Mary Kramer and Lynn Vellis, my bosses on Friday nights, which will start this Friday night as the Bradford Tornadoes will get invaded by those Baker County Wildcats here at David Hurst Stadium. It will be slap packed. It ought to be a good game. And the Bradford County Telegraph, John Miller, John Ryan, and Elizabeth Tillman, Mark Crawford, and of course Cliff Smelly. Here is What's the Date? These are the headlines from the Bradford Telegraph in the second week of August in what year? Study recommends steep rate increases. Bradford loses judge and friend. Driver sentenced in a deadly crash.
Hang on a second.
That was last week.
That was last week.
Yeah.
So, talk amongst yourselves. Let me reboot here and get
All
the
right.
latest one for you.
So I'll tell you what we'll do, Byron. Let's send some comments. Let's see who's on.
Comments are good while I get
Yeah,
this
Robert McGee's on. Billy Rayberg's on. Byron's here. Byron's watching you, by the way.
Yeah.
Dwight Allen, good evening, Patriot, my friend and brother. Samantha
evening, brother.
Cook. Brady Rayberg's on. Randy Brooks is on. Gail Allen's on. The best one of all is God Bless America. That's exactly right. Ellen Disher-Williams is watching. And you think I need meds. You do, Billy Rayberg. I don't know about tonight. We'll see. Robert McGee said, is that bonehead Biden? You would be absolutely correct, sir. Ellen Disher-Williams back on. Patricia Bath is watching. Dorothy Starling's on. Billy Rayberg, a man horn. Oh, Lord, he's off his meds. Hey, Patricia, how you doing? Lorenzo Jones, my boss, is watching. Waiting to hear from their special guests. Absolutely. Well, let's not get. We might as well go ahead and say who it is. Here in just about 7-8 minutes, we are going to have the lovely and talented and y'all's guys Congresswoman, Miss Kat Cammack, will be calling in. Thank you, Mitchell, for getting locking her in as a guest. The phone lines are going to be open for you to get some questions asked as well. I'm going to introduce Ms. Kat Cammack, and then these two gentlemen right here are going to sort of take over now, ask some questions that they have. She's going to speak as well, and I'm going to monitor the comments, gentlemen. Okay. And if I see something, we'll definitely get it asked. So, all right, here we go. These are the headlines from the Bradford Telegraph during the fourth week of August in what year? Like it. Woman arrested for fighting over drug money. Bradford woman arrested for fighting daughter. How about that? And Loper comes to South Side. Interesting. Was that August of 2017, August of 2018, or August of 2019, Byron? I know you already know. I'll read the first one. Okay. Woman arrested for fighting over drug money. Bradford woman arrested for fighting daughter. Loper comes to South Side. Was that August of 2017? Was that August of 2018? Or was that August of 2019? I'll read the first one. Byron, you read the second one, and we'll let Mitchell read the third one. How about that?
Works.
Deputies arrested a 38-year-old Hampton woman after her ex-husband said she broke into his home and stabbed him after he refused to supply her with money to purchase drugs. Christina Gibbs was arrested for assault, aggravated battery, and burglary.
Bradford County deputies arrested Loretta Dial for battery after she said she and her daughter struggled over pills. The fight broke out when Dial tried to remove her grandchild from a car because daughter,
the child's
mother, appeared to be under the influence of drugs.
That's right.
Stephanie Loper was named the new assistant principal at Southside Elementary, her first job as administrator after working as a curriculum resource teacher for the previous 4 years.
Interesting. Woman arrested for fighting over drug money. Bradford woman arrested for fighting daughter. Loper comes to South Side. Was that August of 2018, August of 2017, August of 2018, or August of 2019? That would be the fourth week of August, ladies and gentlemen, which will absolutely, well, no. When is the 31st, Michael? Is that Tuesday?
Yeah, that would be.
I know we got one more show, right?
Yes, we have at least one more show.
We have before we draw again, right? We have one more show, right?
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've got next Tuesday is the 31st. We have two more shows. We've got Saturday and then Tuesday.
Right. So we got Saturday and Tuesday, which we're going to be bringing a Saturday show because Mitchell's got a special guest, which we'll discuss before we get off air. That'll be Saturday at 7 o'clock. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Again, was it August of 2017, 2018, or 2019? We're going to start checking some comments and get your answers. You can win a chance to win a $25 gift certificate from the Downtown Grill if you guess this right. And then what Michael does is he gets your name, he puts it in that big fire hat that he's got, and at the end of the month, Byron, we draw a name out and see who actually is going to be the winner of that $25 gift certificate. I've got a stack of gift certificates this fall that I've already filled out. Me and Michael Heater was actually going to go Saturday to deliver them. Michael was busy that first part of the morning, and I got a urgent phone call that I had to go take care of. So we were going to deliver these personally, and I think we still are. I may have you take some.
Sure.
You take some. You take some, and one of us from the On the Spot with David Rodgers will deliver those to you personally. I did tell Robert McGee Michael that you would get his, so
Yes.
I will have that for you. I'm trying to find out, did I give Mrs. Bagwell hers? I do believe I did. We'll ask her since she's watching. Let's find out.
Here's some more people that are watching: Jimmy Langley, Sam Sheila Allstott, Amy King Hutton, Melba Johnson. Hey, Aunt Melba. Kenneth Jernigan, Raymond No, Bernie Jackson, Donald Stevens. Hey, Mom, who is watching?
Yeah.
And Janet Rawl.
All right.
Sharon Pettiford says, "Good evening, everybody."
Yep, the model.
Connie Wilson said, "Good evening." Leah
Lee Rowanbotham.
Rowanbotham. Hi, David. I'm still reveling in our conversation today about what a great discussion to be continued.
Let me just give you just a quick insight. What we was talking about was about the Bible. Does Jesus Christ really exist? Does God really exist? And we were talking about that. We talked in my office for over an hour.
Wow.
And it went so well that we're actually going to continue it on, as he said. So great discussion.
Now, I'm going to need some help with this because I'm not 100% sure
Okay.
about this question that was asked for me.
Okay.
Byron, what does I'm going to mess the word colonial mean?
Colonial.
Monoclonial.
Right. Mike?
Monoclonial.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what the
for
meaning
us.
of that is?
I can tell you what my understanding is, but if
Okay.
you give me just a moment while
We'll
Mitchell
get
gives
to-
him his expert opinion, I will tell you exactly what it is.
All right. Mitchell?
Yeah, I'm going to actually, since we got a guest coming on,
Yeah,
I'm
go
going
ahead.
to fly through these
Absolutely.
news things real quick.
Yes.
Before she comes on. Events coming up Saturday, August the 28th at 8 a.m. Eastern Newberry Archery Center hosts the 7th annual Bow Hunters Challenge. Bella Oaks on Labor Day weekend, Saturday 4th. Starting at 3 o'clock, they will have a car cruise in. They're going to have vendors. And then at 6, Chase Collins will be performing live. Step over to Bradford County real quick at the last county commissioner meeting. A lot of people still have concerns how the budget's going to be done for the fire rescue. A lot of people still bringing up great ideas as the county keeps on looking in other areas, searching for it. And also the International Firefighters Association was there as well, talking about how they can get pay raises for the firefighters. So very interesting meetings. Over in Alachua County, the governor gave Alachua County 48 hours to reverse their mask mandates for the kids on the bus. They are standing their ground. They said they will not remove that. They're going to keep it in place no matter what. So their funding will be cut for the superintendent's salary and possibly the school board as well. But I have heard rumblings that Alachua County themselves will help pay for the salaries for the school board members and superintendent so they can continue on. In Alachua County, a mother in Archer files a formal complaint because a bus driver refuses to pick up her son because he will not wear his mask. But the thing is, this kid has an exemption where he doesn't have to wear his mask, and the bus driver still refuses to pick him up. So hopefully we'll get some news where that heads after that. The city of Gainesville has delayed the vaccine mandate for their employees, but one commissioner not only wants the employees to be vaccinated, but he wants all the vendors that work for the city of Gainesville be vaccinated as well. So a big thing's going on there and a lot of discussion, and we're going to keep tuned to what goes on in their city commissioner meetings. Also in the city of Gainesville, Monday afternoon, Commissioner Gail Johnson has announced that she resigned from her position. She says that she cannot associate herself with the decisions that are being made by the other city commissioners or by the city manager. Now, Commissioner Duncan Wheeler did make a motion to terminate the county manager from his position, but they did not have a second on the voting to be held, so therefore it did not go through. In Marion County, real quick, there is a report of over 315 students and staff together that are being quarantined from a COVID outbreak in their school system this week.
And there's COVID outbreaks in all the schools, and we can get into that here a little bit later. I want to know this definition, Mike.
Okay, absolutely. So monoclonal antibodies are molecules that are produced in a lab that basically kind of reinforce the normal immune system that a person has to fight off certain diseases. They have discovered that in research that certain monoclonal antibodies have been proven effective against specific types of cancer.
Right.
To bring it under control, not to cure it, but to bring it under control. And what the monoclonal antibodies, these stations that have been established, what they're doing is they're introducing a version of the vaccine specifically targeted to help the body's immune system fight off the virus that's in the bloodstream. It's predominantly deals. It's kind of the same way when you deal with like having zinc and chromium when you take your normal vitamins.
Right.
Yeah, the metals in your blood is what helps fight off the virus. These monoclonal antibodies help support and basically kind of build up your own body's immune system to help ward off the illness.
Right.
Wow.
And with you mentioning that, Michael, to let everybody know, now this is something that you don't want to come down with COVID and wait a week and then go try to seek to get this. No. You need to get this in the first 2 to 3 days that you start showing signs and you go get tested and it comes back positive. You need to make your move to one of these places that are set up to give you give you these drugs so it can help you fight COVID. And usually within 4 to 5 days, your symptoms are gone.
Right. Yes.
So, and I got to tell you what, my hat's off to the governor for trying to set these sites all up over the state of Florida. Yep. So my hat's off to him. And also speaking with our guest, I guess they are discussing some things on the Congress floor, but she is still going to join us. She's just running a few minutes late.
All right, that sounds good. Michael, while we're here locally, real quick,
yes.
I heard something today that I didn't hear, and I said, if anybody's heard it, it's Michael. Somebody told me today at work that Union County emergency management is a lot of people quit or everybody quit. So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Without going into the political aspect of it,
Okay.
Several nights ago at the Union County Commission meeting, there was a bit of a concern raised about the emergency services. That's the ambulance service in Union County.
Okay.
There, of course, has been some concern raised over some time by some of the employees. They say that it's not a healthy work environment. To that end, while the commission meeting only lasted 30 minutes, during that 30-minute time, 4 paramedics, the EMS director, and the staff assistant all resigned. So as a result, neighboring counties, including Bradford County and in cases Alachua County and Columbia, have been responding in to support Union County when they have the calls that do it. So this is something it's very fluid, it's very dynamic, there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen. Avoiding the politics of it, the who's, the whys, and everything like that one. But as it stands right now, for those of you that live in Union County, there are still ambulances on the road. They call for mutual aid when the call load exceeds it. It's no different than Bradford County. Bradford County we've got 5-6 ambulances on the road, and yet we still call for Clay. We've had Union come to us anytime that the call load it reaches a point. You can have a traffic crash with 5 patients. We've got to transport all 5 patients. So these things happen. I myself, being a paramedic, I can say that with certainty that the level of care provided by the paramedics has not diminished, and that there is a contingency plan in place to provide emergency care to everyone in the entire region, not just local to Bradford or Union or anything like that one. There is an automatic system in place that provides ambulance service 24 hours a day.
Good. Okay. So what I did here was correct. I'm glad you elaborated on that. I just didn't see over the weekend. Did this happen last week, Mike?
It did happen. It happened at the end of last week.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
And also, just real quick here to supplement something that Mitchell said while we're waiting, if I may.
Yes, please.
Some folks have been, and again, I've been getting questions about this one, so I wanted to make sure I let you guys know. Preventative measures being what they are, this is a great opportunity to reinforce that. For those of you that know me, know that we're having a time with a family member who is basically on a vent. It is 50-50. We're still not sure what's going to happen, but there are certain things that you can do to help stave off the concern, or at least to help minimize it. There is a medication out there that's called quercetin, Quercetin. You can get it at Walmart. You can get it in the pharmacies and everywhere like that one. If you take this followed by zinc and or chromium about 20 minutes later, that helps process the metals that you're taking in, that help support your metabolism, and as a result will help stave off the virus. It's not a cure. It is something that helps you build up your immune system. In addition to that, taking zinc a minimum of 60 milligrams a day if you're sick, 30 milligrams a day if you're not, along with chromium if you do take that one, a lot of vitamin C, a lot of vitamin D. Get outside. If you're in an office space like that, make a point of getting out during the day and get into the sun. Yes, we know it's hot, but the sunlight helps your body metabolize vitamin D and to a lesser extent vitamin C. Those are the two keys, along with zinc, that will allow you to be able, and chromium, to help your body process. If some people have trouble sleeping, melatonin, also, not just for sleeping, but it also helps your body metabolize these medicines that will allow you to maintain your health, or if you do get sick, to help reduce, not eliminate, but reduce the effects of the virus.
Right. And all of those are over the counter.
Every one of these
So you
is
do
over
not
the
have to
counter.
go to a doctor and get a prescription. You can go right to the store and pull it right off the shelf.
And I wanted to just reiterate what Mike said real quick. The person that Mike is talking about, I know her personally as well. These gentlemen do as well. And prayers is going out to Mike and his family with this thing. Also got a co-worker as well. His name is Chris Brantley. I've got a lot of guys that are watching the show tonight. He has been in ICU for 3.5 weeks. He's got a collapsed lung right now. They have induced him in comas just to try to get him settled down. They put a tube in his neck. There has not been any kind of, let's say, great progress. It's just been sort of stable. So I want to pray for Chris Brantley and his wife, and his son works out there with me, and his family, that he gets a lot better. Chris, I love you, man. I've gotten real close with you. And, man, I know you're a fighter, dude. I know you at work. And I pray for you and your family, and for you to kick out of this thing. And I'm sure he will.
Well, and we all know when this thing first started, it was people that we knew that knew people that had it.
Absolutely.
And now it's striking more closer to home. It's people that we know. It's our family members and stuff. So, I'm not telling anybody to go out and go get the shot, but if you feel like that, because we have a problem right now in our local area and in our country, that one side is criticizing this side and vice versa for not getting the shot, for getting the shot. Let's just put all that bull crap to the side.
Amen.
If you feel comfortable that you need to go get the shot,
go get it.
Go get the shot. If you don't want to get it, don't go get the shot. It is your opportunity. It is your body. The government does not control your body. You control your body.
Amen. I agree.
That's right. And I believe FDA approved
the Pfizer.
Yes, the
Pfizer was approved.
It was approved.
Moderna will be following.
Well, yes.
Moderna will be following here in the next couple of days.
I see Mike going. Anyway, I'm gonna move on.
We'll
get into that because I'm sure Kat's gonna get into that. Let me get some other comments here and the answers. Hollywood Jones is watching. Say hello, Holly. Hey, there you go. There you go. Lydia Morris is watching. Jeff Goins, Janet Roll, as you said. Benny Jackson. Sam Allstat, is watching. Says good evening. Trent Brown's watching. All right, here we go, Mike. Robert McGee, 2017.
Okay.
Dorothy Starling, 2019.
Okay.
Roy Jackson, 2018.
Okay.
Benny Jackson, 2018.
Okay.
Randy Scoggins is watching, and Randy Brooks says 19. Clint McFarland, Black Creek Rising. We'll see you Saturday, brother. Thanks for tuning in. We've got Kat Cammack coming on. We're going to tell you all about how you can talk with her and what we're going to be doing. But Saturday, maybe 20 in the show, if we got just a few minutes, I'll go over some of the stuff that's going on here this weekend. Edward Pettiprin says 19. Lydia Morris says 18. The model says 18, Michael. Okay. Chase is awesome, Lydia says. Ron Stanley's watching. People are dying. Why do people not understand this? Just my opinion, Lydia says. And we'll get into that, Lydia. I get it. Cases are rising. Absolutely. I don't disagree with you there. Michael, she says, thank you for the information and clearing the monoclonal. How do you say it again? Yeah. Man, that is, can you say that 4 times straight in a row?
Yes. Monoclonal antibodies.
There you go.
There will be a spelling test at the end of the show.
Oh boy, I'm going to fail that one.
Wouldn't be too terribly hard.
No, it's not.
No, but it's harder to pronounce.
Pronouncing is hard. Spelling is easy.
Yeah.
Just think of mono.
Lydia, not only in Union, we've had some here as well. Yeah. So, Miss Bagwell, you know Mom? She says 18.
You know Mom.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah. Ricky, autistic. And we'll get going to some wrestling here in a little bit, Ricky. Stay on, and I'll give you a plug. I'm not going to shut up. I'd rather keep my vent to myself, praying for all of the family and friends that are affected by this virus. Do the right thing to keep yourself safe. I agree. Sharon Prepper says, also pray for Jimmy Clemens in the hospital for a month on a vent, and I forgot about that too. Yes, Jimmy Clemens.
We have been keeping him in prayer at church as well. Every Sunday, me and my wife, we bring him up, and you know he's in a lot of people's prayers right now.
Yes.
Jennifer Luke's watching. Pepper Autistic's watching. Lori Rayberg's watching. Let's see, Ellen Disher Williams replying to Shannon. Okay. Pepper says 2019, and Ellen says 2019.
Okay.
You got anybody?
Kelly Moore Rawlings and Pepper Autistic.
All right. Do you have any more guesses?
Give me just a second.
All right.
Flip this back and forth to get
okay.
stuff right.
Hey, and we're getting ready for our call.
Raymond knows.
Okay, what did Raymond know say?
2018.
18. All right, put her on hold for just a second and let's go ahead.
Okay.
All right, we got the answers in. All right, and the answer is, wait for it, give us a drum roll. It is August of 2018. I did get a chance to go around the table. All right, if you said 2018, you get put into the hat for a $25 gift certificate to the Downtown Grill. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and we're going to be right back with our special guest, Miss Kat Cammack, right after this commercial break.
Hey Tornado fans, this is Kurt Miracle of Miracle Automotive and Towing, proud sponsors of Tornado Football. I want to welcome you to beautiful Stark, Florida at David Hurst Stadium, and thank you for letting us be a part of this community. We're here for more than your automotive and towing needs. We're here to be part of Tornado Country. Go Big Red!
Hey, is this David?
This is Mitchell.
Hey, and the phone line is now open, 904-458-7588. If the line is busy, you can leave a message and we'll read your message on the air. You can also try to call us back if you wish. That number right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to talk to our special guest, which we're fixing to introduce here in just a second, is Miss Kat Cammack, and that number is 904-458-7588. Phone lines are now wide open. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me put Miss Kat Cammack on, Congresswoman Kat Cammack. Hey, Kat, how are you doing, ma'am?
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Doing well.
We are doing well. It just seemed like a few short months ago, Kat, we was in your lovely abode there talking to you about this particular thing, running for Congress. And then here we are a few months later, and you're up there at the White House and at the Capitol building doing your thing. And we are glad that you have taken some time to speak with us here on the spot with David Rodgers.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me on, and it's been a heck of a day, let me tell you. We have done and seen and thought some things today, so your timing is excellent.
Good. That's good to hear. Like I said, I'm glad that you're on. If you didn't hear who was on, I've got Mr. Byron Bagwell right here to my left. You just spoke with Mitchell. I got Mr. Dave Holland, our producer, which you met at your house when we was over there. Mr. Michael Heater, our director, and of course myself, and of course our big time viewing audience. So we're hoping we get some questions from them as well. But I'm going to turn it over to these guys here in just a second. But for anybody that doesn't know you, Kat, and know about you, can you tell just a little bit about yourself and how you got into this and how you've come to where you are now today?
Yeah, sure. So for folks that I don't know and that don't know me, I am your representative, your voice in Washington, our nation's capital, and I was just elected in November of last year and started my term this January. All members of the House of Representatives, we serve 2-year terms, and it is probably and arguably one of the most busy and hectic schedules that you will find of any elected official. We are constantly on airplanes back and forth from Washington to our district and all over because we serve on committees that have jurisdiction that is really across the country. So I currently serve on House Homeland Security and House Agriculture. So I am constantly on the road under House Homeland Security. I have responsibility for FEMA primarily. As the ranking member of the FEMA subcommittee, which is very important for a state like Florida, as well as Office of Weapons of Mass Destruction. So we cover all biological, chemical, and nuclear threats. And on top of that, we also have all jurisdiction over cyber and border security, as well as TSA, ports, airports, and it is truly a huge undertaking. So I've been to the border several times, the southwest border, to talk about the challenges there. We've got dozens of initiatives and pieces of legislation that we are working through the process right now to toughen up border security under this administration. Everything from our local law enforcement that is the recipient of several grants that keep our departments running. That all runs through Homeland Security. And then, of course, agriculture. That is a big part of my life. I grew up on a small cattle ranch and was a 4-H kid, barrel raced pretty much my whole life, and actually ended up getting involved in politics because we ended up losing our home, our cattle ranch, to an Obama-era housing program about a decade ago. And so that's why I ended up getting involved, and it's really with that background that I was able to earn a position on the House Agriculture Committee, which I sit as the lone Republican for the entire state of Florida for agriculture, which is pretty crazy when you think about the importance of agriculture across the state of Florida. It's our #1 economic driver, especially when tourism is down. And it's very important that we put it front and center and look for ways that we can support our local farmers and ranchers. And that's been really my focus, is law enforcement and our constitutional rights, securing our borders, cybersecurity issues, really protecting the homeland. And with current events that have been going on, it's been a real struggle to stay up on all of that. Because you're literally, with this administration, going from one issue to another. And so in the minority, it's pretty tough, but I'm very confident that Republicans will take the House back. We're working very hard to make sure that happens and do our part to make sure that that happens. And when that does occur in about 16 months, we're going to see a tremendous amount of work put in to really get our country back on track. And there's a lot of issues that we could talk about, be it Afghanistan, be it about the trillions of dollars that was just spent today that we fought tooth and nail, or, our constitutional rights and how we're watching that be eroded day by day. Our Second Amendment, our First Amendment, you have a lot of these government mandates that are creeping into our daily life, and it's very troublesome. So we got our hands full, and that's for sure. And That's a little bit about me. Personally, I'm married to a local firefighter there in North Central Florida. He is a SWAT medic and a firefighter, has been for the last 14 years, and no kids, but we've got chickens and ducks, and they keep us pretty busy. And we're really proud to call North Central Florida home. You know, we call that God's country. So very excited to get out of Washington and come home.
Hey, this is Michael Heater. Pass along to your groom there that I remember when we hired him in and he was in my orientation class. It's good to see him doing so well after all these years.
Oh, well, hey, Michael. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's great to have you on the show as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I will definitely tell Matt.
Excellent.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, we have your representative right here, Miss Kat Cammack, on. The phone line's now open, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to call and ask Miss Kat a question, number's 904-458-7588. Remember, if the line is busy, you can leave a message or we'll read your message on the air. You can also try to call back if you wish. Again, that number is 904-458-7588. Or, hey, you can message us right here on the Facebook Live, and we'll read your question out to Kat, and we'll see if she can answer it for you. Already given you a lot of great information. Mitchell, I'm going to turn it over to you first, and then let you and Byron go and ask her some questions. And then, Kat, if there's anything that you specifically want to talk about, absolutely feel free to go ahead and do that at any time.
You got it. You got it.
Well, I'll go ahead and I'll start off. And one of the things I want to tell you that I see you out there, you're working your tail off. I appreciate what you've done down on the southern border by getting our local sheriffs here in Florida to go with you, because, you know, like you said before, this is not just a border crisis for Texas, it's a border crisis for all of our states with these people coming in. And I tell you, it's terrible what these men and women go through, especially the women and the children, being used pretty much as human trafficking, getting them here to the States, and putting the pressure up there in Washington, D.C. for something to be done on the southern border. Because right now, I have heard some rumors, I don't know if they're true or not, but I hear that they are taking these illegal immigrants, giving them papers, they put them on a bus, they're driving that bus here to Florida, to Orlando, and they are letting them off. They're not, no other papers are with them, they're not checked for COVID, and I believe this is how different strands of the COVID variant is getting in to our state, which is causing our citizens issues.
Yeah, no, so the border situation, and that's a great question, and this is one that is near and dear to me, obviously sitting on the committee of jurisdiction, and you know, I'm seeing firsthand, working so closely with law enforcement and our first responder community, the impacts that it's having on our local communities. You know, I've done some ride-alongs here recently with our local sheriff's department. In fact, I'll be doing a ride-along with Bradford County Sheriff's Office here in the next few weeks. And, you know, it's not like we get in the car and we go for an hour. No, we're going till 2, 3 in the morning and really seeing what a shift is like, and really digging into the issues in the community. I'm going to break this down in a couple of different ways. So, first and foremost, I mean, just from a philosophical standpoint, very 30,000 foot, you can't have a secure nation if you don't have a secure border. It really is that simple. And without and I'm sorry, you're here in Franklin, we have a golden retriever who is our office dog, and he's getting antsy right now, and you can probably hear him whining in the background, so I apologize for that.
No, that's awesome.
That's all right, yeah.
We like having dogs in the office because they bring the stress level down. You know, there's that just basic issue of you can't have a secure nation if you don't have a secure border, plain and simple. What was working under the Trump administration were the policies that he and his administration instituted, which were the building of the wall. In Texas, they don't even call it the wall, they call it the levee, because it's used as a flood control mechanism. In that area where the border is, it's a very dangerous floodplain, and there's about 250,000 of homes that are right there. And with the levee there, that is what controls and keeps that from wiping out these little communities. And so when Biden came in and halted by executive order the construction, which, by the way, he kept the payments going because he had to, by law, keep the payments going to these contractors. At that point, he simply was saying, I'm fine paying you. I'm just going to pay you not to build. So our tax dollars literally went to contractors to do nothing. They literally were babysitting materials that were sitting there. One other just infuriating thing about the whole situation. But the wall itself was a force multiplier. And you can talk to any Border Patrol agent in the 9 sectors that run along the southwest border. They all will tell you, Republican, Democrat, NPA, doesn't matter their party affiliation, every single one of them will tell you that it was a force multiplier, and they need it because they are so short on personnel that they can't be in all places. And this is something that really protects people on both sides, because what you have allowed now through the halting of the construction is the cartels to control the border. Yep. The cartels are effectively the wall now. You cannot get across the southwest border without paying the cartels. And the average going rate right now today is $6,000 a head. Now, It varies. I know. I mean, it's crazy. It varies from where you're going and where you're coming from. We have Chinese nationals that pay $35,000 to $75,000 to get into the country, and they're smuggled in. If you're coming from Mexico, you're going to pay about $4,000. If you're coming from Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, you're going to pay about $6,000. If you're coming from further south, you're going to pay $9,300 to $10,000. But the thing that people need to know is this is not just Central American countries and nationals coming across. There are 140 different nationalities that have been documented as apprehended just this year. The number 9 most apprehended nationality that is documented at our southwest border this year is Romania. Number 9. That is a top 10. And people think that it's just, people from the Central American countries and Mexico. No. We have seen people from Iran, from Yemen, from North Korea. We have seen people that will literally pay and do anything to get into Mexico to be smuggled into the United States, because what this administration has done is they have said, come here, we want you here, and we're going to allow you to effectively have amnesty. Because what they're doing is they're coming across, they're being apprehended, they get processed, and by processed I mean they present an ID. If they don't have an ID, they swear, and this is what is just laughable, they swear that they are who they say they are, and then they're checked for license scabies, processed through one of the processing facilities until HHS comes and picks them up. And then from there, they go to an NGO like Catholic Charities, or there's some others that work in the space. And then Catholic Charities or one of the other nonprofits says, where do you want to go? And 70% of the people apprehended, and we're going to have 2 million people just this year who have been apprehended, they say, I want to go to Florida. 70% have identified Florida as their final destination. And so then they get flown on our tax dollars by Catholic Charities to Florida, and from there they are given a piece of paper that says in 5 years you need to report to an ICE detention facility and basically self-report for deportation. Now, what's crazy to me is a lot in all of this. But if anyone thinks that people are actually going to turn themselves in 5 years,
No.
then I want to know what they're taking.
Exactly. The whole thing, I know some people that are Democrat, and they're like, oh, there's no problem with it. They're just trying to come here to better their lives. I said, yes, some of them are doing that. But, there is a percentage that are coming through there that wants to do harm. Are you willing to let everybody to come in, and then 15% of them want to do harm to U.S. citizens? No, you have to stop everyone. You have to vent each one of them before you even let them come into this country to see if they even qualify for a visa. Then if they qualify for a visa, they get their visa, they go to work, they pay their taxes like everybody else, and they work for their citizenship. But I think this is a big move by the Democratic Party to try to bring these people in through the southern border, hope that they go to the red states, and then they have the ability for these people to vote Democrat and control the election, and we will only be a one-party country. That is my fear. And you know, the people, if the people want it to be one-sided, well, the U.S. citizens that live here ought to be the ones that make that choice, not people from other countries coming here and dictate our elections. That's what gets me so upset about it.
And think about what just happened today. So not only have we been fighting tooth and nail, screaming at the top of our lungs that this is a humanitarian crisis, a public health crisis, because they're not testing at the border. They're not. I know that because I've been there multiple times. I've talked to the different groups, HSI, the Homeland Security Investigations, the Border Patrol, the nonprofits, Texas Rangers, Texas Department of Public Safety, the National Guard. No one is testing, and they're estimating at this point that about 30 to 40% of the people coming across are COVID positive. They have to estimate because they don't have the funds or the resources to really test. And so these people are coming into our communities, and they are helping perpetuate the different variants that are, really spreading like wildfire. And that's a real problem. Not to mention that the drugs that are coming into our communities are coming from the border. I took Sheriff Billy Woods from Marion County with me to the border, along with Sheriff Gordon Smith and a few others from the area. And they were able to talk to Homeland Security Investigations and show them evidence that had been confiscated, drugs in particular. There was a brick that had been actually packed. It was fentanyl, and it had a stamp on it that couldn't be identified. They showed that to Homeland Security Investigations. Keep in mind, this is Ocala. Immediately, Border Patrol agents and HSI said, "Oh, I know that. That's one of the local Border Patrol or the local border cartels." This is coming from the border, and it's landing in our communities. It's killing our kids. It's killing our citizens. So if it's not COVID, it's the drugs. And we just do not have the means by which to support all these people coming in, because it's going to be a strain on our education system, on our health care system. And what just happened today, the House passed H.R. 4, Nancy Pelosi's H.R. 1 Light, which is it's the John Lewis voting rights bill. There's nothing in there that actually supports voting rights. It is a federalization of our voting laws. And what it does is it allows the Biden administration, basically via executive order, to strip states of their ability to implement voter ID laws. It's unconstitutional. I believe that it will ultimately be shot down by the Supreme Court. But as we're turning our heads to take on the midterm elections, as we're fighting tooth and nail to take the House back, we need everything we can get to make sure this happens. And what the House just passed today says that the federal government can strip a state of its rights to implement voter ID. Meanwhile, we are flooding our communities with illegals who don't even have an ID.
It's always
and everyone
like
is distracted by Afghanistan and everything else that's going on in the news. So it's looking pretty dire. It's pretty tough. But that's why it's so important that people stay engaged. And I can't tell you how many people tell me, "Oh, well, I'm just going to turn it all off. I'm sick and tired of it." That's what they want. They want you to get sick and tired of it. They want you to turn the TV off. They want you to go about your everyday life so they can continue to consolidate power, because how the left operates is through dependency and control. That is what they want, and they can only get it as long as we are not engaging. And so I just encourage people to please make sure you're staying up on all this stuff and staying engaged and making sure that you're promoting the good information of what's really happening and paying attention to the stuff that's not so sexy. Like the $3.5 trillion that was spent today.
Yeah.
Kat, I've heard that was more like 5, and that's that actually has passed both the House, Congress and the Senate? House and
Which
Senate?
one? Say again.
Did they pass it in both chambers?
Are you talking about HR4?
No, the 3.5.
Yeah, so this is the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill. And this is super wonky and nerdy, so bear with me on this. I'm going to break it down as quickly and easily as I possibly can. But this is super in the weeds, nerdy stuff. I literally had to sit with specialists on this to get the process broken down, because I'm telling you, there are members of Congress up here who voted on it and they don't even know what it is. And so that was a little scary. The reconciliation bill that was passed out of the Senate and the House, it is a $3.5 trillion price tag. Here is why it is so dangerous. What it does is, and just so you guys know, a budget resolution is not binding by law. But what they have to do is they have to attach it to what is called a reconciliation bill. And it's more of a procedural issue that allows the Senate to bypass the filibuster with a simple majority, and they can only use it once in a fiscal year. So this is Biden's big Build Back Better plan, and it's $3.5 trillion this year. Not over 10 years, this is over 1 year. What this bill costs us over 10 years is $68 trillion. And this is on top of the $1.2 trillion infrastructure package that was passed out of the Senate, and it is on top of the normal 12 appropriations that we in Congress go through every fiscal year. So you're looking at roughly $5 to $6 trillion, give or take, depending on what the 12 appropriations come back with. And so when you're talking about the $3.5 trillion, what it says is, with reconciliation instructions, they say, this is a dollar figure that we want you to meet. So it's a pie in the sky based off of Biden and Bernie's budget. And they say, we want you to go back to committee and plus up all of the accounts that you possibly can to meet these certain initiatives under the Bernie Biden budget. And so this is going to be amnesty for illegals, because that is part of their budget.
Yep. They
literally allocate dollars to process people who are here illegally to get them citizenship. It will, in the state of Florida, it'll be close to 1 million people will get amnesty. We're already experiencing a 74% increase in fuel prices. With the hyperinflation that we're experiencing right now, this will probably double, and it will cost us on average $2,000, your everyday citizen, about $2,000 more in taxes per year. That's not including the increase on prices and goods and services. So in a month, after the committees have all had their instructions to plus up all the accounts, the bill will come back to the House and there will be a final vote. But let me just explain. Republicans don't have the votes to stop it. And we saw that the moderate Democrats folded like a cheap suit.
Yep.
So
Yep.
this is going to happen. What we need to focus on is getting the House back immediately, because that's what stops this.
Yeah.
There's very little that the minority party can do. Very little. And so I know that people are like, you need to fight like hell, you got to do this. How we fight back like hell is we share this information and we tell people what's going on, and we get them motivated to get out and vote in the next election, because that's what we've got. That is really the power that we have.
Thank you, Kat. I'm glad you explained that. I was going to try to explain that a little bit later on tonight, but that was a really good explanation.
Yes,
thank
it
you.
was.
Thank you so much. I wanted to say something. You said something about HR 4 being unconstitutional, and what I was going to say was you would actually have to pass a constitutional amendment to do what they want to do in that bill. Isn't that correct? take the power away from the states to make their own election laws?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So H.R. 4 is the John Lewis Voting Rights Bill. It passed the House tonight. There was very little debate on it. Very, very frustrating. And one of the top tenets in it is that it strips the states of their ability to require voter ID. And so this bill gives the Biden Department of Justice authority to designate voter ID law as a voting rights violation or as evidence of voting discrimination.
So what happens if, say, Ron DeSantis tells Joe Biden he can take that and he can shove it,
Right.
and we're going to hold elections the way we always held them in the state of Florida? What kind of punishment could come down to hurt Ron DeSantis if that happens?
I think honestly, this bill would ultimately get struck down in the Supreme Court, but it would have to get there. For midterms, I do have concerns because what they could do is if Ron DeSantis said, well, no, we're going to do this anyways, what Biden could do is essentially withhold funds, and then he could refuse to accept any of the federal elected individuals. So even though the state might certify the state elected officials like your state House representative or your state senator, all members of Congress would be fair game to be rejected by the federal level. And if we didn't win the House back, then I can tell you damn sure Nancy Pelosi is going to send us back home. And that's why I think it's so important that we get this right, because these midterms are going to be a pivotal moment in our nation's history.
Somebody needs to ask the Supreme Court to
Yeah, I don't know I don't know when it would get to the Supreme Court. Keep in mind that this bill, H.R. 4, has to go past the Senate.
Right.
And I'm hopeful that it doesn't. It, like H.R. 1, the For the Politicians Act, that is still stuck in the Senate. I think it'll remain dead. You got to keep in mind, so much of this stuff is political in nature, and these politicians, they want to get reelected, and if they throw too much too fast, especially in the Senate, they're never going to try to compromise themselves. And I think if they pass this out of the Senate, that they will.
And they can't use the filibuster on this. They can't get rid of the filibuster on this one because they use it on the other bill, correct?
Correct. They cannot. So reconciliation in the Senate is limited to 3 things, and it cannot be used for anything extraneous. So it has to be for the debt ceiling, it can be used for spending, or it can be used for mandatory spending. Revenue, mandatory spending, or the debt ceiling. And you can only use it once in a fiscal year, and the Senate parliamentarian has jurisdiction of what can be included in it. So anything like voting law and that kind of stuff, they'll strike that out.
Right. Because it's not dealing with money.
Hey, Kat, exactly. I have a question. One of the viewers asked here, just a real simple one. How many members are Democrats or Republicans in the House and in the Senate right now?
In the Senate, it is 50-50, and the Democrats have the advantage because Vice President Harris is the tiebreaker. She is technically the president of the Senate. And then with regards to the, hold on one second, guys.
I think that's correct.
Yeah.
Hold on one second, guys.
Sure.
And then as far as the numbers in the House, we're still working here in the office, so things are always constantly moving. With the House, they only have a 4-vote majority. So 218 is the magic number. There have been retirements and whatnot. So they need 218 to pass. So, we're at 214 to 218. 219. They have some folks some seats that aren't filled right now. So it's a very narrow majority. It is the smallest majority held by the Democrats since World War II, and it's a very tenuous place for them to be in. And we keep eating away at that with winning special elections, and so small majority, but one that is of great significance, because even with that few people to make up the difference, they still are passing things. And Nancy Pelosi is truly an operator. She strong arms her delegation. I saw it firsthand last night. We were here till midnight working, and she was really putting the screws to them about passing this bill. And here we are now 24 hours later almost, and she has gotten her way, and the people in her party that were objecting, they got nothing. So never underestimate what they are willing to do or how far they're willing to go.
Right. Now, H.R. 4, if it came to that point, would it scare them away if, say, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma just says, fine, y'all do that, we're going to do it our way, and we'll just break away from the union?
Yeah.
I mean, could they pressure them that way? This is what we're going to do if this does pass forward?
Or, Kat, do you think they even care?
Quite frankly, I don't think they would care.
That's right.
I really don't think they would care, and that is such a massive lift that would be. I don't want to say it's virtually impossible, but I mean, in order to do that, you would have to get millions and millions of people to agree to that, and the states would have to vote, and legitimately with as close. Think about the state of Florida. Our statewide elections are typically separated by maybe 1 percentage point or less.
Yep.
Florida wouldn't even vote to do that, so it's not very feasible, I'll say.
Yeah, what would have to happen with that is they would have to uncover a lot of things that have gone on in Washington, D.C.
Right.
That was really, really, really bad and has been kept from the people before they would even agree with that. But, Kat, I know that a group of governors can get together and request bills that affect their state's constitutional rights to be heard in the Supreme Court quicker than what it normally takes, can't they? Isn't that right?
You broke up for a second there. I didn't hear the first part of that.
When the Congress and the Senate passes a bill in the manner of H.R. 4, can the governors not get together and the state's attorneys not get together and ask the Supreme Court to hear the case against something like that quicker than it normally would happen?
Yeah. I mean, and you see that. I mean, you'll see the attorney generals on many different issues push back against the feds on a litany of issues, and it will always go through litigation and pushing it to the Supreme Court before it gets into any super extreme measures. But again, with H.R. 4, it passed the House today. Yes, it's a really awful thing, but it also is going to head to the Senate, where it will probably die a very sad, painful death. Because at the end of the day, there are senators over there that they are coming up for re-election, and there's no way that they can sell this garbage bill of goods back home. And I think that's a reality that a lot of people, when you turn on Fox News or you turn on MSNBC or whatever your station is that you watch, it's easy to get fired up. Hell, I watch 10 minutes of Fox News or Newsmax or whatever, and I'm like ready to go. Crazy, But the important thing to remember is that when you really look at the policy and then you look at the procedure and how it all comes together, the procedure was designed with intention by our founding fathers to be very slow. They purposely gunked up the works to make sure that there weren't extreme changes to our constitutional republic based on the whims of a party that had extreme political views. They were very, very smart and had the incredible foresight to really put that together. So the process is deliberately slow. And while it can be frustrating, we're in the majority, I thank God every day that it is this way. And, as I find myself sitting in the minority. So it's something that people should be aware of, because it points more to this is what their political aims are. But realistically, I don't ever see that coming to pass, at least certainly not in the next few years. And when we take the House back, that sets the stage for us to take the Senate and then eventually the White House. So this is going to be a very, very long-term play.
Kat, I have a question I was going to ask you, and it's about Afghanistan. It's something that doesn't make any sense to me except for possibly one reason. Why would you use the major public airport in Afghanistan to remove our assets out of Afghanistan instead of one of our military bases like Bagram? I just don't understand that at all. Because now the Taliban has surrounded that airport and nobody can get in it.
So I was in two classified briefings today about Afghanistan, and I've been on calls for the last 2 weeks on Afghanistan. So high level, what I can tell you is that there are catastrophic failures of leadership, and heads are going to roll. And by that I mean the Joint Chiefs Chairman, General Milley, he needs to resign. I believe that Secretary Blinken needs to resign. I believe that SecDef Austin, who I opposed the waiver to even allow him to be eligible for Secretary of Defense, when a lot of my colleagues wanted him to be, Republicans included, I think he should resign. I think that there are tremendous failures all the way up to the commander-in-chief. Catastrophic failures. And when you look just simply as at just a 30,000-foot view of the Kabul airport, the international airport there, versus Bagram, which is about 70 miles outside of Kabul.
Right. Yeah.
Bagram was the most fortified primary logistics hub that we had. It has two runways. It has ramps that can accommodate up to 20 C-17s, whereas Kabul has one runway and no ability to accommodate multiple C-17s. When you look at the sheer number of people that we have to move, that becomes a problem. When you start looking at the fueling capability or lack thereof, and that we are having to do this now in midair and do air refueling, that makes the missions that much more dangerous. I had an opportunity to ask Secretary Austin, write to him. We had a conversation actually today about Bagram. And this is not classified, so I can share this with you. The conversation kind of went like this. Secretary Austin, I want to know why we abandoned Bagram. And I went through my litany of reasons why I thought it was a bad idea. And he said, Representative Cammack, we didn't abandon it, we transferred it. And I said, with all due respect, Secretary Austin, transferring implies that the person receiving is aware. And quite frankly, none of our NATO allies knew. The Afghan nationals in the military there did not know. No one knew. None of our partners knew that was happening. So a transfer is quite frankly a BS lie, and I use a stronger word. I cleaned it up because we're alive. But the fact that they're trying to sell the American people on this was a coordinated, well thought out plan, that we had contingencies built in place, that's nonsense. There was no such things. And we have been asking, and some of the documents we have been receiving, but by and large there's still a lot that we have to get about the plans, the contingency plannings, the inventory that was left behind, the intelligence gathering operation that ceased to exist under this administration, and how catastrophic that has been. We're all over it. I mean, all over it and then some. And I just want to tell people that, everybody I know is calling saying, please impeach, please make them resign. At this point in time, and I'm not saying that I disagree. I agree wholeheartedly. But what I am saying is that in our district, in our hometowns, in North Central Florida, we have close to 200 of our people stuck in Afghanistan.
Yes,
Yeah.
And I can't sleep knowing that they're still stuck there, that they have been left behind by this administration. Right. Our team has been working overtime, and I got to give major props to our team, especially Dorothy Richardson. She works out of our Orange Park office. She has been all over this, really working with contractors, working with the State Department, working with the DOD, working with charities, working with anyone who will listen about how we can get people out. She actually was on her way to a funeral. She lost one of her family members, and she was still working one of our cases to get a family of 5 out and home, and she was successful in doing it, and she's been getting people out. But it has been, a case by case, really working the details. She's been on the phone with people when Taliban have come by searching for people. It's something out of a movie, quite frankly, and it's just incredible to see how dedicated every single one of our team members and really all the congressional offices that we have been working with on this are. I was exceptionally proud that in the briefing today, and this might be unpopular, but I really don't care. In the briefing today, Republicans and Democrats stood up furious at this leadership and demanded to know why August 31st has been continued to be pushed by Democrats. Were standing up saying this isn't feasible. You need to tell the president that this isn't right. This is wrong. And we need to know what information is actually getting to him, because we don't have confidence that you guys are sharing the information from the intelligence community. Democrats are coming after folks. And I got to tell you, there were a lot of us in that room that were shocked at how vocal and disappointed and angry those on the left were. But I will say this. There's going to be accountability. We will get to the bottom of this, but first and foremost, we got to get our people home, and we're just gonna keep on doing that until we get every last person home. We're Americans. We don't leave people behind, and it's just not who we are. So I'll leave it at that.
Kat, to me, this smacks of optics is what it would not have had looked as good coming off of a military base to remove everybody than to come out of a public airport. And if that's the truth, that's almost criminal.
We're going to find out definitely in the coming weeks and months and probably even years what went wrong, and that's why we need to review all of this. Rest assured, we will. I got to tell you. As I said, I'm limited in what I can say.
Yeah.
But on the top level of what we have been talking about, it's clear that we actually, as a Congress, Republicans and Democrats are very united in making sure everyone gets home, putting Americans on those planes first. That's first and foremost on everybody's mind, and that is something that no one really expected. But we're getting answers. Like I said, I had a conversation face-to-face with Secretary Austin today and took him to task on a lot of issues, including Bagram, as well as the lack of inventory that they have provided Congress of what they left behind, really using taxpayer dollars to arm the Taliban, where back home here, this administration is doing everything they can to strip law-abiding citizens of their Second Amendment rights. So pretty interesting dynamics and interesting times that we live in. Fellas, I'm going to have to leave you with it there. I'm about 30 minutes late for my next meeting.
Okay.
And my team is about to have a meltdown.
I just want to say one thing real quick. The one thing that I worry about is that equipment being left there, because we got Russia and we got China. They got their eyes on it. The Taliban will sell that equipment to them two countries, and they will get our technology.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, and this is open source, that China and Russia have already begun diplomatic discussions with the Taliban. They already have people in the country. And my fear is not that the Taliban will use that technology, it's that they will give it to or sell it to the Chinese or to the Russians, because they have no assets. All of the assets that Afghanistan had have been frozen, so they are going to need a way to have money brought in and to operate a government. So yes, that is a real concern. We're tracking. I will actually be in the skiff tomorrow going through all of the reporting on it. And these are all things that I stay up at night worrying about so that you guys hopefully don't have to.
Well, Kat, I really, Dave, did you have something really quick, Dave?
Yes, Kat, the citizens out here that feel helpless, that want to do something, to close out, can you give us an idea of what we can do to help?
The number one thing, honestly, to help is, one, share good information. It is so easy, and I've even caught myself looking at some stuff on Facebook and being like, that's outrageous, and I share it, and then come to find out it's not really an issue. It's not a real thing. It was made up, or it got blown out of proportion. I think we lose credibility when we start really inflaming and pushing out bad information. And I've seen a lot of my friends, heck, even my own family, put stuff out, and I'm like, hey, that's not a real thing, right? And they're like, but I saw it on Facebook. Share good information. I want our folks to become really the source of credible, reliable information, because that's who people turn to when the crap really hits the fan. And I think we're at that point in time where we need reliable, good information and really brokers of that information. So for everyday citizens that are out there that want to help, share good information. Double check and fact check the things that you're sharing on social media and through email. The other thing is, engage with your member of Congress. People say that they want to help, but then they never call. It's so important. Call your member of Congress. Call your senators. That is how people are held accountable. That is how influence and change is really made up here. I can tell you, being the former deputy chief of staff for this district, when the phone lines would light up and there was nothing that any of us could do except for answer phones, that made a difference, because that's when the boss stops and says, what is happening? And if people are this angry or this passionate about this issue, I better pay attention to what my district is telling me. And so please engage with our office, engage with your senators, and I would also say engage at the local level. We have really let the school board level, the city commission, and the county commission levels just kind of operate without having a whole lot of engagement from the community. We have got to get our folks back in those meetings to really understand what's happening at the local level, because you're seeing what's happening, mandatory masks, mandatory vaccines, all this garbage that is very dangerous. It's happening at the local level. Critical race theory in our schools. This is all happening where the federal level isn't necessarily promoting it.
That's right.
It's the local level that's implementing it, and we can't say that we support local small government and home rule and then say, oh, well, the home rule doesn't apply to this because we don't like it. Right. We've got to start getting engaged.
Kat,
Michael,
Kat, real quick before Michael says something, can you give out the number for the switchboard? That way they know how to call you.
Actually, we will post that.
We'll post that. Yeah, we'll post that.
We'll go ahead and post it. That's all right, Kat.
Mike,
gotta go.
I just wanted to I know you're in a hurry. I wanted to express my appreciation to you for everything you do. And on a personal note, if you're going to believe everything that you read, I'd start with the Bible. Now, moving on.
There you go. Hey, Kat, I want to thank you. And again, I'm going to let Mitchell close it out. I want to thank you again so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on. I would love for you to join us again when you can. I do have a favor, though. How well do you know Miss Lauren Bober?
Her and I are great friends.
Are you? Is there any way that you can get her to join us on the show maybe one night if she's not busy?
I will definitely ask her.
All right, that's it. You can tell her how she can get a hold of us. I love the videos that she was packing. I think that was so awesome.
Miss
I
Cammack,
will definitely do it.
Miss Cammack, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And also tell Miss Sandridge, thank you for constantly emailing and working out the logistics so we could have you on tonight. Really do appreciate her.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We got the best team. And thank you guys so much for what you're doing. And can't wait to see you guys when we get back home.
Absolutely. Kat, we love you. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, that was Kat Cammack. Mitchell, great job of getting her on as a guest. Michael, preparing everything up. Dave, Byron, great questions. It was a great night. We had a lot of people listening. I was surprised, though. Michael, were you so surprised that we didn't get any phone calls in? Or
I was. I even went through part of the show and was testing
You was
numbers.
trying to test, yes.
If you heard ringtones in the background, that was me making sure everything was working. Yeah, no one called. But I'll be honest with you, and Dave brings up a good point. The vast majority of people who watch the show watch it on their phones, and they don't want to lose the show to call in. So we want you to be a part of the show. Now's a great time to kind of make a mental note. If you've got a laptop, if you've got a tablet, if you have some other way that you can tune in to watch the show, leave your cell phone free. Call in. We love to have the audience participation. That is what drives the show. You are what drives this show that makes it successful. And we appreciate when you do call in, and we encourage everyone to call in every chance that you choose to.
All right, Mike, while you're there, how about that weather? Dave, can we get some weather up?
Absolutely. Well, while he's bringing up the pollen forecast, I'll tell you right now, it's going to be great for tomorrow. And then it gets worse, unfortunately. Pollen numbers are going to be, as you can see, starting from 0.9 tomorrow. The arrows tell the story. 4.9, 5.9, 7.9 as we get into the weekend. It's unfortunate, but that's because, on a positive note, we're going to see a little bit of respite from the rain. Not a lot. As a matter of fact, I can truly tell you that the voice of reason, the Byron Bagwell, can give you the best forecast ever.
It's going to rain.
Absolutely. Every afternoon, looking at scattered thunderstorms each and every day. The hot spot, if you want dry weather, go to Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to be in the 80s. Nashville, Tennessee topping out at 95 degrees. Once again, it's the hot spot across the southeastern United States. For us locally, again, scattered afternoon thunder showers expected through the rest of this week. A little bit of a respite as we move into the weekend, and look for lows in the lower 70s each and every evening. Dave?
Michael, hey, great weather report. Great show tonight, guys. Byron, you look magnificent with your shirt and tie. You had great questions for Miss Kat Cammack, and I'm glad she took time out to join us. Mitchell, again, great job getting her to come on real quick before we shut down. Who do we have Saturday night, by the way?
We have Katie Sinnis. She is a public relations person for Jim Dunn Racing, and she's also worked with a lot of other teams as well. She actually is the reason why we were able to get Justin Ashley on the show.
Really? Okay.
She reached out to him and helped me out on those matters. A
Right.
really good friend of mine. And I tell you, everyone's going to enjoy listening to her talk about all the things that she does behind the scenes.
All right, I'm going to get maybe 15 seconds, Byron. Quickly, what you got? How you want to close?
Call your congresswoman and your senator and tell them what you think about what is going on this week with our government.
Absolutely.
Because there was 3 things that we just talked about that greatly affect your lives. Greatly affect your lives. Can anybody that you know with the prices going up the way they are afford an extra $2,000 worth of taxes?
Not me, partner.
Because that's coming. And you could not Kat didn't vote for that, so she's not to blame for that. But we've got a problem. We've got an issue. We've talked about the debt before. It's driving the debt up, guys. Call them. We will put that number on our website. Call them and tell them about it.
David, real quick. Anything? Just 15 seconds worth. Great show.
Great show, man. I can't ask for a better show than this.
All right, Mike.
Hey, fantastic show. Again, thank you all for tuning in. Remember, this show is driven by you. David has said it in the past. We are just the rudder that steers this big old ship. You guys are the motor and the wind in our sails. We appreciate you and everyone who tunes in every week to join us.
Well said. Mitch?
Well, just can't wait to Saturday night. It's going to be another great thing, and I want to iterate what Byron was saying. I know it's very boring, but if you really want to know what's going on with the House and the Senate, C-SPAN 1, C-SPAN 2, there's no spin. You see what you see.
Yeah,
It'll make you sick too.
Yeah, it will. And I just want to say something that she said in her when she was talking that I wanted to hear, and that was about the Afghanistan thing deal, about how some of these Democrats are pissed, torqued off about what's going on. And I hope what she said, she wouldn't have said it if she didn't see it. So I'm glad to see that some Democrats are maybe starting to wake up and smelling the coffee and going, hey, this stuff is absolutely wrong.
They need to get rid of those jacknuts.
Oh, that
They're losing their party to a fringe Bravo group that's in it.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank again Kat Cammack for joining us and being part of the show. Remember, we're on the spot, so you can be too. Good night, everybody. Tornado football. Hey, Tornado football Friday night and Saturday night. We'll be back with you at 7 o'clock. God bless you guys. Good night. Oh, boy, Dave. Oh, man, he didn't even let anybody know.